Welcome everybody. My name is Lori and we're here for 30 minutes of Yin Yoga. If you've never practiced Yin style yoga, but you've practiced maybe other types of yoga, you can expect an experience quite different. I like to describe Yin Yoga as a meditation while resting in a pose. So you can try to treat it like a guided meditation where you're focusing on the breath, focusing on being present, being connected to sensation while lying in a yoga posture. You can find yoga practices online or in studio with a Yin style that offer no accessories, but I really like to try, even if I have to be really creative with what I have at home, to add pillows, blocks, books, whatever it is, so that I can be super comfortable and really create the shape without too much tension around my neck or back or anything like this, because I will be staying in each posture for at least 3 minutes. I will be setting a timer for around 4 minutes as soon as we get into the pose. And then after we get out of the pose, we rest for around 30 seconds to 1 minute. This is called a rebound, depending on the depth of the posture and how long you want to stay. The idea is to let the sensation sort of relax after a quite deep or profound stretch. So keep in mind that the stretch is deep because of how long you're holding it, not how much sensation that you're finding. So I like to say a moderate sensation, using 50% as a gauge, meaning that I feel the stretch, but it is not too much for me to relax in. And of course, if you have a Yin practice and you feel comfortable going a little deeper in your poses, you're able to relax your nervous system, relax the tension of the face and the shoulders, etc. While holding on to a deeper sensation, you always can, and the same goes if you need more softness. So when I teach Yin Yoga in studio, we use a classic yoga bolster and 2 blocks. I even have poses that during class, I bring people extra stuff. An extra bolster for underneath their tail or underneath their buttocks if they're in a pigeon pose or a swan, we call it in Yin, or maybe a 3rd block in that dragonfly, or we call it pancake pose in dynamic yoga. But these postures are treated differently than they are in a dynamic style. They do have different names, some of them are the same. And we want to add as much as we can to relax. Of course, if you don't have it at home, you can do any of these postures at home, but as much relaxation as you can find, the better. I also have near me a couple of books, a couple of couch pillows, so that I can show you how you can be creative at home. And I have a little bit of a step stool. You can also use a chair. This is really nice if you have a little bit less of hip mobility and you need to stay more upright. I will show you that if it's applicable later on, but it's always nice to have these things around when you're practicing your Yin Yoga. So we will begin. The practice is about half an hour. We stay in each posture around 4 minutes. We have a rebound of 30 seconds to 1 minute between each pose, with the time to get in and out as well. That being said, if you have any injuries, if you're pregnant, please adapt your postures as needed. I will try to guide you as much as I can along the way. Okay, our first posture is a classic child's pose with the knees wide. During spring season, we work on the meridians of the liver and the gallbladder. I'm not going to go so much into that, but because I'm trying to access these meridians, I'm going to choose today to spread the knees really wide instead of closing the knees closer together. But of course, please adapt this along your needs. If you have tension in the low back and you want the knees closer, or if you have knee aggravation. So I'm going to open my knees wide. I have a little bit of extra flexibility, so I'm going to open a little bit of a quarter turn so that both my knees are on the mat. And then I'm going to lie forward. I'm going to try to avoid using that bolster today because many of you at home won't have it, but anytime I use a pillow, you can place that bolster in. I'm going to put the pillows underneath my head, but not underneath my belly, so that I have a deeper stretch of the inner thighs, adjusting as needed. That being said, if you need more support, lower the pillows towards the belly. And if you want to go even deeper into the shape, You can go ahead and take the bolster away and maybe even, or the pillows away, and maybe even add yourself just a block underneath the head. Now when I'm practicing Yin Yoga by myself, I put on some nice music, and I put on a little bit of one of those Tabata drill timers, but I choose, instead of a bell, a small gong sound or something like this, so it's kind of soft. And that way I don't really have to think about the time. I can just let 4 minutes roll by, and then I set up a 1 minute rest. And then I can turn to the other side or sort of prepare mentally for the next posture that I want to do. So when this posture is done, you will maybe hear a little bell, as I have a timer set up for us today. I'm looking to target the inner thigh, the adductor muscles, with a gentle stretch. In child's pose, we have other sensations that are happening at the same time: the low back, the outer hips. And in Yin Yoga, we're trying to stretch more than just the muscles. When you're in a posture for a long time, the muscles will stretch, and then over time, you'll stretch also into the fascia and the other conjunctive tissues, connective tissues. But those take a little bit longer, as their texture is different and a little less malleable than the muscle tissue. And something also to keep in mind is that fascia is not just around the muscles, it's also deep within the body, around organs, and kind of around all different areas of the body. And it has tendency to get tight around areas that don't move very much. This is why we say that it's really important to move a little bit every day. But with that thought in mind, consider that when you breathe shallow breath, the organs, the diaphragm, the lungs are moving a lot smaller movements. And so even the tissues, the fascias around the internal organs can get sort of tight around the ribs and the back body. And so I like to remind my Yin students, and I'll remind you today, that deep breath, long, slow inhales, long, slow exhales, create a massage of the organs, of the fascia, of the rib cage, deep within. So notice the quality of the breath. With each inhalation, you're creating more space or spaciousness. And with each exhale, just a little bit more relaxation within the body. Now, the postures that I've chosen today are some of my favorite sort of everyday Yin Yoga postures. They're the ones that I am sort of guided to naturally in my personal practice. I feel they bring me comfort and rest. And there's our bell. So I'm going to move into my rebound. Of course, moving slowly. I'm going to use my arms. I'm just going to take my knees together into a fetal pose. I'm going to take one pillow away so I can be really cozy. And here in the rebound, you're not looking for anything specific. You're just letting the sensations begin to soften and relax. I'm just going to notice maybe some of those sensations have softened enough that I feel ready to find an upright seat so that I can find my next posture. So I'll push in with my hands and begin to find an upright seat. Now most of our postures are lying down today. It's very soft, sort of midday session for if you just need a little pause, especially if you work from home, or if you have time to go home on your lunch break, even better. I'm going to show you with books, but normally I would do this with blocks. If you use a block or a bolster, you can put the block along the upper part of the spine. I'm looking at the middle of my back. The neck is free, the low back is free, and I'm lying down with a block under my middle back. Once you lie down, you can move it up or down. But if you're working with only the blocks, you're going to do the same thing. I have 2 little couch pillows. I'm going to put one behind my books so that my books don't shift. And then I'm going to place my second one on top. Again, I'm looking to keep my low back free as I lie down. And I let my head gently fall behind. Now, right now I have my legs and ankles crossed in Sukhasana. But if you like a butterfly with the feet together and the knees wide, you can do that as well. The arms are resting down to the sides and the palms are open. The soles of the feet are together. Now taking just a moment to be mindful of everything that might be happening in this shape for you. First noticing if you need to adjust anything. And then I'm going to invite you into a little bit of Krama Pranayama. It's a segmented breath, where as you breathe, you're going to breathe into the belly, into the chest, and then up into the collarbone, or the clavicule. And then I want you to exhale really slow. So we'll take an in-breath in the belly, moving into the chest, moving up to the collarbone, pause, and nice and slow I exhale. Think about making that exhalation last as long as the in-breath. Now it's adding a little pause between each segment. Inhale into the belly, pause. Take in more air into the chest, pause. And now again, up into the collarbone, pause. And then a slow exhalation. Again, inhale belly, pause, chest, pause, collarbone, pause, and then a nice slow release. Inhale, belly, pause, chest, pause, collarbone, pause, and a slow release. Again, inhale, belly, pause, chest, pause, collarbone, pause, and then slowly let it out. Again, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, exhale. And let the arms relax even more. Inhale, belly, pause, inhale, chest, pause, inhale, collarbone, hold, slow release. Inhale, inhale, And softly let it out. Coming to a natural breath. So my bell goes off, and I gently recross my legs to take a little bit of that intensity out of the inner thighs. If you're on a small amount of accessories and you want to roll to a fetal pose, you can, but most likely it will be a little bit more accessible to roll gently up to a seat. Use your hands to support you as you come up. And I'll take my hands to the tops of my knees with the palms facing open as my rebound. Letting the spine sit up gently tall. The eyes are closed. And just being mindful of any sensations that you're feeling in this moment. Maybe the energy is reducing. Maybe a little of your daily anxieties are softening. Maybe your mind has let go of any thoughts of work or life outside of the space. And now I'm going to move gently my accessories out of the way. I like to keep anything I might need near me, so I place those pillows to my side. I move my books out of the way. And I lie down on my back. Now this next posture I like to do on an accessory, a block. Be careful of using books unless you have maybe one big book or something like this that you feel you are very stable on. I'm going to lie down on my back. This posture can be done absolutely no accessories, no problem. But I like to gently lift my hips up during this pose. So either one or two blocks or a big sturdy stack of books or a book and a pillow. I place my low back onto the accessory and I lift my knees towards the chest. Now I'm going to create a figure 4 with the right leg and pull gently my left knee towards my chest. Now once I get there, maybe I'm going to notice that one block was plenty. And so always remember that as you move into the postures, being curious and compassionate, I create a right figure 4 with my right leg, and I'm gonna reach to wrap my hands around the left thigh. Now, if you have a lot of flexibility, you can grab the left shin. If you prefer the left leg to be straight, which some students do, and the hand goes around the back of the knee, you can do this as well. If the accessory underneath you doesn't feel good, you can take it away and you can do this posture with nothing at all. I classically use a bolster underneath my back because it's a little bit softer. The block that I'm using is pretty soft, so it works pretty well as well. But if it bothers your back at all, it's always best to adjust. So me, I like my hands around the shin. I'm gonna find that stillness. And then allow yourself to relax. I'm going to put us on for about 3 minutes, as I talked quite a bit there while we were in the pose. And we're just going to let the head relax down to the floor, the shoulders down, the facial muscles begin to soften. Now, while in your posture, the first thing that can be really helpful is to notice if you're using any muscles that aren't necessary to be used. The face is a pretty good place to start, as we really have no need in our yoga practice to be clenching our jaw or furling our eyebrows or tensing up in any way. I even like to notice that I relax the tongue and the mouth and the eyes back in their sockets. I'm hearing my stomach make a lot of noise. And then I'm going to relax consciously my neck and my shoulders. The hands are clasping, so there's a little bit of muscular activation in the hands, but try to relax as much as you can these spaces. Even relax into the toe muscles. Sometimes I like to just gently wiggle my toes to notice if I was gently pointing them or if I had any sort of tension there. And then just noting the breath. The belly, it's rising and falling. Trying to go back into that deep breath. It's massaging the digestive system. Moving the diaphragm in its maximum capacity. Anytime the thoughts come, you let them pass, like clouds in the sky. And so as my bell goes off, I release my bind. I'll let my left foot come to the floor and then my right. If you're up on an accessory and you want to stay there, maybe just extend the legs forward into a little gentle supported bridge, or if you're not on an accessory, you want to lie into Shavasana. Again, during the rebound, there's really no right or wrong, no correct or incorrect, just whatever is calling you. You didn't notice any sensations, the effects of the pose, the impact, or from a spirit of judgment, just a spirit of curiosity. And then, I think for the other side, I'm going to bend the knees and place a pillow underneath me. Just to kind of try out something a little different this round. Totally fine if you want to change things up. And I'm going to find that figure 4 on the left side. I know my left side is a little more tight than the right side, and that maybe a little lower to the ground or a little softer would be better for me. But of course you can mirror what you do on one side from the other. But know that it's okay if what you choose is not totally symmetrical. I'm going to put on our little timer. And you can even change the way you grab the legs if it feels good. Another powerful technique of staying present is counting the breath. Imagining a similar technique to counting sheep as you're trying to fall asleep. But in this case, I'm trying to see how high that I can count before my monkey mind, my brain full of thoughts, begins to find something to hold on to think about. So I take an inhale and an exhale. And that's one. I inhale. I exhale. That's two. And again. For three. And I keep going that way. Maybe I'm able to get up to about 6 or 7. Those intrusive thoughts about whatever I had organized for the afternoon begin to creep in. But I'm just going to shift back into the present and begin my counting again. I inhale. I exhale for 1. Totally unbothered. For 2. And I notice how those long, slow breaths begin to calm my mind, and my nervous system slows and relaxes. And I begin to release. I take both feet down to the floor. Maybe this time it feels good to just place them on the floor and relax, or even walk them wide and gently press the knees together towards the center. Unbothered by the crazy sounds of Paris around me. And then I will take the accessory out from under me and lay down on the floor. Maybe you feel called to take the knees into the chest and give yourself a little back massage. I'm going to cross my left leg over my right, creating a little twist. And then I'm going to take a pillow, maybe 2, onto the right side, and I'm going to let my legs fall to the right. Maybe I'm going to try to get both shoulders on the floor, but if I can't, I can put that second pillow right underneath my left arm. Letting gently the head turn to the left, I use my right hand on the leg as a gentle weight. Again, just noticing how the breath and the movement of the lungs is different with each pose. And again, consciously releasing any muscles that I don't need to be activating or using. No need to be doing anything at all.
If twists aren't really comfortable for you in any way, they could be the neck or the hips. There's so many options to soften this posture. One option is to uncross the legs and just let the knees fall next to one another. I could also put one pillow below my right leg and one pillow in between my two legs to create more softness. The knees closer to the chest will create a different sensation than the knees further away. And sometimes it's just best to try a few things until you find the thing that serves you the best. If you are pregnant and you're in your middle of your second trimester, a little bit later, and twists just don't feel good, you can minimize the twist a lot and have a very soft twist, putting a couple of books and pillows underneath the legs so you feel just a gentle stretch. Of course, it's always good to consult with your practitioner, but in general, the body is meant to make some gentle twisting, and it's totally fine to gently twist the body around the hips. Just don't want to force anything that feels uncomfortable or unsafe for us. So it's always best to listen to you and trust your instincts. I kept my little timer on 3 minutes, so let's just enjoy a moment or two more here. I noticed that just now my right hand was very actively pushing against my legs, and I'm going to let that release. A little bit of subconscious activation sort of happening. Totally normal. And now, taking a big inhale by the nose, exhale out of the mouth. I like to turn towards fetal pose, but you can also lie on your back. Just giving my spine a neutral alignment. Taking a breath or two. And gently making my way back to the back. Maybe you have a lot of sensation after twists in the low back, in the hips. So feel free to take a moment or two more here to just do absolutely nothing. Moving into that posture called twisted branches. I'm going to cross my right leg over the left and gently let the legs fall to the left. Placing a little pillow underneath my leg. I had also a block there waiting for me, so why not? I'm going to leave it. But notice how, with my legs a little higher, my right shoulder is able to just touch the floor, and so there's no real need to place anything underneath it. So little adjustments on each side are totally fine. And even though I'm going to keep my hand on my leg to add a little weight, I'm going to try to relax my hand muscles. I'm going to release the architectural muscles of my eyes. Can you even feel the sensation that it's possible to relax your eyelashes? can take a little bit of work and a little bit of practice to teach the body to rest. In this busy life where we've sort of learned that productivity creates our value, Yin teaches you that you can rest and that you can just be. Totally normal if the first dozen practices of Yin Yoga invoke a little bit of anxiety or are a little bit difficult, especially if you are heavily in your mind or if you have some extra cortisol from a lot of stress around work or something like this. So you might feel some resistance to rest, and that's part of the process. So keep coming back, keep practicing your Yin practice, creating balance. Enjoying a few more moments in this shape. And then I'm going to gently find a neutral, however you want to get there. Place my right hand on the heart, the left hand on the belly, just to feel the lungs moving. Now as we move into our final pose, which is Shavasana, sometimes after a twist you might feel that the spine isn't perfectly aligned, the hips are a little to the right, the arms are a little to the left, whatever it is. Sometimes it's nice to just give yourself a little hug or practice a little happy baby. And then I'm going to put either my pillows or my blocks underneath my thighs. I have a sensitive tailbone, so a little bit higher up the thighs feels nice, creates a little softness around that joint. And then take the time to move your stuff out of the way. The palms open. The breath lengthens even more. It is the exhalation in which slows down the heart rate. And so when we deepen our breath, a lot of times we think about the inhale. But for calming down the nervous system, focus on the exhale. See how slowly you can let the air out. Getting to a place of rest and relaxation that even with the noises of your neighbors, or whomever is living with you, or the things that are happening around you, that you're so calm. that is just external to life, like a little symphony, and you're unbothered. And during this last minute that you're here in your final pose, can you relax even 5% more? Somewhere. Take a moment to shift back, feeling the cool floor underneath your hands, or the texture of your mat below your arms, and then move the fingers, move the toes, lick the lips, and move the head from right to left. I turn onto whichever side calls me, right or left, and I just take a moment to lie here. And then gently I press my way up. You know it's a good yin practice when your shushu is not in your hair anymore. I'm gonna let that go. I place my hands on my knees, my eyes are still closed, my gaze is still inward. And then my hands join in front of the heart into Anjali as a sign of gratitude. Thank you for sharing your day, your practice, even just a little moment here with me. I hope to see you again. Namaste.